Hey Julio, how are you doing? I am not able to see your audio. So for everyone joining in,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry. I'm good. How about you?
good, good, good. So to everybody joining here, thank you very much. This is our live smart manufacturing workshop event where we are going to talk about smart manufacturing and show you a couple of things that we do during projects. And the idea is to give you a flavor that if you're on a smart manufacturing journey, then what are some of the obvious things that could go wrong, and how you could go ahead and learn from some of our experiences as we implement these digital tools in manufacturing factories. So if you're trying to adopt some of them, then this is a very good session for each one of you to understand uh, how to go about it. Um, I'm going to bring up a presentation here, and if I can switch to my scene, which is where you can see. Tulio, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see that.
Awesome. So we are discussing today achieving a paperless factory, and we are going to be exploring how digital tools can streamline manufacturing operations, reduce manual tasks, and boost efficiency. I have Tulio with me. Uh, very recently, he's taken the role of being our account executive at Snick Solutions, but he understands and has implemented many digital tools. Before we get into our workshop, I want to set the expectation that here the purpose is to educate each one of you who are watching the video right now or who will be watching this video later. Our purpose is to give you insights on how to accelerate smart manufacturing adoption with digital tools. And the learning outcomes that you can expect here is uh, some of the common challenges that customers experience in their adoption journey. And if you can avoid those pitfalls, then we would be very happy to see you improve your success rates uh, in the digital adoption journey. Our focus here is a little bit on practicality, where we're going to deep dive into an example and try to visually showcase some of the use cases SMB manufacturers can explore. So if you're thinking of, hey, where do I start? What do I do? Then I think Tulio's insights in what he's about to show will probably help out here. And for everybody who's joining, uh, feel free to engage, ask questions as we go and are recording this live. We'd be happy to bring those questions in or respond as Tulia and I talk here. Um, so before I go to Tulio, I want to set the stage. And there is a lot of talk about Industry 4.0, digital transformation, uh, smart manufacturing. They're just multiple terms. Uh, what we need to understand is that for everybody, Industry 4.0, there's a revolution. So there was the first revolution, which was the steam engine, then it was electricity, then it was computers, and now we are basically in a revolution, which is where it's all connected. Machines, people, or technology is just going to be talking to each other, and that's the larger Industry 4.0 revolution. But Germany, somewhere back in 2012 or so, the German Association of Industries, they came up with Industry 4.0, which is a German term, and that was more about cyber physical systems talking to each other, and we will be living in a world where technology and different things are interconnected. This in the US got is being more popularized as smart manufacturing. And to just bring everybody on the same page, the definition of smart manufacturing is that it's an information driven, event driven, efficient, and collaborative orchestration of business, physical, and digital processes within plants, factories, and across the entire value chain. This is not my definition, but US Department of Clean Energy or US Department of Energy has funded SESME, and SESME is responsible for promoting smart manufacturing in the US. And this is, you know, people who have been there, done that, have come and crafted this definition. But what does this mean for each and every one of you joining here is, in simple terms, what does information driven even mean, right? So if we spend less time finding information or making sense from it, or and take more time to make informed decisions, that's what we're talking about. So if there are opportunities in that area, that's what smart manufacturing is about. Event driven is decisions are made when critical events occur or are predicted to happen instead of waiting until the next report is published. So be more proactive rather than being more reactive. Time and resources is optimized, including labor, material, energy. We've already been doing this for the last many years, but the intention here is that can we do further and can it be significant? The last part, which is collaborative orchestration, this is the big part. I think this is where uh, there's a very big difference between what we've been doing for the last 20 years or so, and what we plan to do right now as the future of manufacturing. So there's a constant pulse reading on the plant and collaboration with support functions to resolve issues proactively. And that only happens when people, technology, processes, culture, everything just comes together. Um, Finally, when we talk about the entire value chain, we are somehow used to uh, people either in our function, in our department. At the most, we would go a little bit of cross function, but the value chain is becoming more open where collaborating with our suppliers, our vendors, our customers, etc. Can we make that possible? And all of these coming together is what smart manufacturing is. So if I go to the state of manufacturing, most manufacturers, if you see the current state, is a very reactive state or a mix of some parts are reactive, some parts are proactive. And what we're trying to do is to get it to a future state which is very, very adaptive, where you are focusing more on decision making and that to data driven decision making. So, Tulio, at this moment, I'd like to go ahead, stop sharing, and move back to you, where if you can share your screen and bring up a smart manufacturing example that we could take our viewers and subscribers here on our channel, uh, as a live example. So
Sure. Can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I think for this example, a full disclosure to everybody, we are going to be using two digital tools. One is Opcenter X. That's a newly launched software last year from Siemens, specially focused on SMB manufacturers. And the other tool that we're going to be using is Factory Plus. That is something that we at SNIC Solutions have built it, and we have early adopters. So we're kind of using basically two very SMB focused modern tools, that are still in the early stages. And what I'd like to do here is kind of do a conversation here with Tulio, playing and representing each one of you as a customer, and see what he has to tell me here. Tulio, does that work for you?
Yeah, sure.
So I think let's do this. Let's do the example. Let's consider that we have a manufacturing facility. We are here in Dallas, in Texas, all around. There are oil and gas is a big industry here, Tulio, and we have a lot of manufacturers who serve the oil and gas industry. So we would focus today's example more on fabricators, job shops, people who have some sort of machining, fabrication, etc. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And what we can also do is that one of the things I'm seeing in the US is that it's a very high mix, low volume environment. Uh, so is that something that we can consider today as in our example?
Yeah, so we can consider that as well.
Okay, so let's say this factory, which is basically a high mix, low volume environment, serving the oil and gas industry, all the majors which are around here in Texas. If they had to accelerate their smart manufacturing journey, one of the things basically that we see is that they would have multiple systems, or that would be working in silos. So can you take us through an example where you start with, let's say, a customer's order, and then show us basically a cycle where in a factory we have supervisors, we have the operators who are operating the machine, then we have the maintenance guys, we have quality people. Each one of them basically have to do their work, but see if you can show us how all this comes together. Okay.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly what I prepared for today.
Okay.
And yeah, and just to set the stage, I will try to not be too technical today. Okay,
Yep.
so that will be more a high level demonstration.
Sounds good.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about manufacturing operations management software here, guys. So that's all-in-one manufacturing management platform. Okay, so if we start with the home page, we can see multiple applications here. So they are designed to streamline manufacturing operations, including order management, scheduling, quality, real-time visibility, and more. As Nikhil mentioned, disconnected systems slow down production and increase errors, right? So these integrated apps ensure efficient production by providing a unified platform for all manufacturing operations. Okay, so that's the main goal here. So with an overview of all these apps, let's take a closer look at how we manage and take care of data. Okay, so let's explore now data virtualization software. So that's a central hub for data integration. It connects ERP, MES, Excel, and other systems, organizing all company data in a structured and accessible way. Okay, so this eliminates data silos and ensure that all information flows seamlessly across departments. So no more hunting for data. Authorized users can access any data at any time and up to date, ensuring faster and informed decision making, right?
I think what I've seen, Tulio, is traditionally this would be done through some sort of a spread, like some data would come from X system or a Y system, either it's the ERP or maybe there's a homegrown system. Then half the data would come, from a spreadsheet, etc. But just to bring it all together was a tedious task. What you're saying is that with Factory Thread, it just it's easily we can bring it into any tool, and in this case, Opcenter X, correct?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, and I'm seeing workflows, so it's like uh, even a user could do it, right? Like that's the intention here.
Yes, exactly. It's a very user-friendly software, and it's based on drag and drop functions. So
Mhm.
you can easily drag and drop functions for example, filtering, create a query, apply a join between source systems, etc.
Okay.
It's designed for the end user.
Okay. Awesome. So let's go ahead, Tulio. I think one thing that would be great to, like, how was this done in the past? Like, would you need a developer to do this in the past?
Yeah. So what we've seen is that so companies usually have an IT department, and they are usually so busy, right? So if you need if you need a simple data to use in your BI, for example, that would take days or actually weeks to have that ready.
Gotcha.
So yeah, with factory thread, if you have the user credentials authorization, you could do that by yourself.
Okay. So where we are right now in the journey then is that ultimately, on the factory floor, sometimes a lot of data is needed because, let's say, the customer order is coming in the CRM or maybe the ERP. So if the factory people or the personas want to bring that data in, then they could. So high level data movement is a big subject of smart manufacturing, or data management. Cataloging the data or organizing your data is a big subject. Why don't you tell us a little bit, Tulio, into like going further, like take a use case, right? Like take a couple of personas and tell us how they would collaborate with each other.
Sure. Yeah, you mean using factory thread, or you mean following the.
Following, so as we go ahead in Opcenter X, then what?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so okay, now that I just explained about the data virtualization, right? So let's take a closer look at the order management app. So usually all sales orders and maybe MRP is running on the ERP, right? So at order management app, we see all the work orders that need to be planned. Okay. So this provides a clear view of what needs to be scheduled and executed, even if it's from a customer order or if it's from a forecast demand. Okay. So the good news here is that you can say goodbye to a manual work order creation. Okay, because orders automatically flow from ERP to Opcenter X through the data virtualization software when they are confirmed. Okay,
Gotcha.
so keeping basically the planners will be always up to date and aligned with needs to be scheduled. So that's the first interaction in this process, in this flow.
Okay.
Okay.
Who is generally viewing this production orders? Is it the operator? Is it the supervisor? Or is it everybody?
Yeah. So basically, once the planners they select the set of orders to be planned to be scheduled, right? So the next step would be creating a schedule. So and that's done in the scheduling app.
Okay.
So in the scheduling app, which allows us to plan a production using powerful scheduling rules. Okay, so you can use scheduling for due date, resource utilization, etc. And with just a few clicks, right, we can optimize machine utilization and also have a better on-time delivery. And what we see today, Nikhil, is that what usually take hours to create what if scenarios and manage constraints using Excel files, manual process can be now done in seconds. Okay,
Okay.
using the scheduling app. And plus, scheduling is not the only one process here, but rescheduling happens in real time based on actual shop floor data. Okay, so that's uh, the main benefit here.
So let's back up a little bit. What you're saying is that in a factory, if we have the starting point basically of a digital factory, or when you're working in collaboration, is that the scheduler is basically pulling the orders. He's scheduling and he's saying, "Hey, this is shop floor. Everybody, this is what you have to do." In a smaller business, it might be the supervisors who are doing this. So can the supervisors basically come in here and do their own scheduling? Like sometimes if it's a high mix, low volume, there are programs and multiple people basically among they are given responsibility of a couple of portfolios or products. So could they basically all just come in here and do this?
Yes, they could also do the schedule, but mainly what we see as best practice in the smart manufacturing process is once we have the schedule done, right? So the supervisor, he has access to all work orders that were just scheduled, right?
Oh, okay.
So um, he doesn't need to worry about the sequence, the best sequence anymore, because the scheduler is taking care of that. So what the supervisor will do then is once the schedule is done by someone who is always trying to optimize resource, who is always trying to increase on time delivery, the supervisor then will make sure that the jobs will be executed on time as scheduled, right? And we'll try to resolve bottlenecks when it happens.
So that's a good uh, example that you're given there, because today we see like a lot of supervisors are kind of doing their own scheduling because the product complexity is more, and it's because of the existing process. But what you're saying is that the process itself could be made better, where then they can focus pretty much, rather than focusing on sequencing, they're focusing on, hey, what are people working on, and is that being done as planned? So that itself is powerful, because that collaboration and that process change, I think, uh, uh, improves efficiency. Uh, where I think supervisors could play roles, right? Like it's just not
Hmm.
one supervisor has to play this scheduler. If it's a significantly larger SMB, then I think they could dedicate one scheduler. But I think if it's a smaller shop where most of them are wearing already multiple hats, then at least a couple of supervisors could take that responsibility and do the scheduling. So great.
Yeah.
So this is the supervisor's view. Like we are now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes, exactly. And one more thing here, Nikhil, is that um, so if you think about the supervisor life, day in the life, right? So as you mentioned, he has like a bunch of orders that needs to be executed, and he still needs to deal with the sequencing, etc. So in the smart manufacturing process, with the enforcement of the sequence, so the supervisor can actually just filter the orders to be done in the day, in the week, right? So um, making the supervisor life easier and also improve efficiency because he is now taking care of execution being done on time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that this would be supervisor's screen.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we just talked about the supervisor, right? And let's say the supervisor has all sequence of orders for each operator. So let's jump to the operators screen. Okay. So switching to the operators screen, right? So what happens as you mentioned about the supervisor life, right? So the operators they feel kind of the same thing, right? They have like a bunch of orders to execute, and they can execute whatever order he needs to, right? So with the operator's screen on smart manufacturing on a manufacturing operations management system, the operator has actually the right sequence of orders of operations and also the tasks that needs to be um, executed. So he has work instructions to follow, documents to refer, material consumption, scanning barcodes, data collection, and etc. So those are simple screens that operators can focus on the tasks, right? So that reduces errors and also increase efficiency, sorry, and also avoid confusion and delays for the operators.
So I think one challenge that I always see is that in a high mix, low volume environment, Tulio, uh, it's very hard to keep a track of, what are, like, if there are 10 steps, maybe in another product there might be, like, 5 steps. Another one there could be 40 steps. And it's very easy that, hey, if I miss a step, then we'll probably end up doing a lot of rework, or the customer will say, hey, this is rejected because it does not follow our specification. I see a lot of manufacturers then ending up doing that work. And sure, there are control checks and balances, but is there a way that that could be avoided, because that would be a good use case here.
Yes, that's a very a good and a very common use case. So in this case, Nikhil, we can enforce the sequence of tasks, right? So if you have 5, 10, or 40 steps, we can have all of them collapsed in here, and we can have drawings as well and all instructions, and the operator is not able to execute the second task if he doesn't finish the first task.
Hmm.
Okay, so that avoid also errors and delays.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing that's very important here, Nikhil, is that we don't see a very good integration between quality and production, right? So what we see usually is that if any deviation happens, um, the operator will call someone from quality team, right? And
Yeah.
they will come to the production area and they will raise an unconformance, etc. So what happens on the manufacturing operations management system is that from the operator's screen, which is this one here, the operator itself can create a nonconformance action. So this nonconformance is a very simple and intuitive process workflow. Everything here is pre-configured, so the operator does not need to fill anything, just select things.
I
So
was going to say that you said that the quality guy would go on the to the operator. I think they'd be using Teams or Slack or WhatsApp today. Uh,
mhm.
they'll be doing a lot of back and forth, but um, I think what you're telling here is that that necessarily does not record everything in one place, so that if you want to go back tomorrow, it's still basically there's a problem where if you want to go and find something or search something, it's still going to take time. But here, I think what you're showing me is uh, it's like a seamless collaboration between the quality person uh, and the operator, correct?
Yes, exactly. It's a seamless connection, right? So think about that. The operator is just opening a new nonconformance, right? And everything is being tracked, and you can select failure context, material, everything here is tracked. Failure, that's a scratch in my material. I can see failure details. I just follow the workflow here. I select an action that is predefined as well, and I say, hey, you know what? I am just the operator of the machine. I think the responsible for this is, let's say, Nikhil, you are responsible for this. So I will assign you as responsible, but the quality manager will receive a notification right now. If I add this, and if I hit next and submit this, right away, the quality manager will receive a notification showing, hey, there is a new action on the new conformance, the non-conformance.
Got it.
So, and he needs to take care of that, right? So if I go to,
So this action management is then what the quality manager screen, like?
yeah, so the quality manager, he has like the dashboard view, which
Okay.
if you see here, this is the new non-conformance we just created, okay?
Also, he is having like a complete board where to say, okay, it's just not one operator. You're saying if there are 10 operators on the shop floor and everybody's request is kind of piled up here and consolidated. Wow.
Exactly, yeah. So in this case, we are seeing all quality actions that were raised. Okay, but he could also see that by machine, by material, by product, etc. Okay,
Okay.
and if he needs everything's fine, let's say this one here, he can change status and say, okay, this is completed, or this should be canceled or rejected, etc., etc.
So hold on. If you do that, generally what we have seen is that this is a good example of a difference between an industry 3.0 and an industry 4.0. So if people had digital tools in the factory where somebody's using a quality software, somebody's using, let's say, a work instruction software, somebody's using a operator software like a UI, where they're consuming information, somebody's using a dashboard, unless if they are not talking to each other, this update that you're going to do would not reach. So, uh, will the operator get this now real time the moment the quality person finishes his work here?
Yes, exactly. And more than that, the manufacturing operation system can be configured to block this specific work order. So if I go back to this screen here, you can see in the bottom that we have a blocked work order. So that means, for example, if I open a non-conformance,
You want to bring it
I
up because I think our name and
let me see. Yeah, I will just change sending. Uh, okay, If you see, we have a blocked work order here.
Ah,
So
okay.
in this case, that could mean a non-conformance was raised, and automatically this work order should be blocked. So until the quality manager says, "Hey, this quality action is completed," that work order will not be unblocked. So this is a closed loop process, all integrated between production and quality.
So it's not only the quality person's view, like operators immediately able to see that, hey, he can't proceed, but what you're also telling me is that now the supervisor also is already informed in real time on their board that, hey, there's an issue that's going on, at least for this particular order.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, and beyond quality control, Nikhil, traceability is essential for tracking product lineage and compliance, right? So, what I'd like to show you next is the shop floor audit trail. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in this application, you can see all transactions that were executed against all work order, all products, etc. So if we apply a filter, whatever date, range, type, transactions, etc., you can see all transactions and everything on in this shop floor audit trail application. Okay, so that means I think everybody, when it comes to the audit process, right? Everybody's just running and trying to find records during the audits, right?
Yeah.
Right. So in this case, you can forget it because every transaction is tracked, is available online, is up to date. So that simplifies the compliance and quality checks.
Okay. I think the larger, I think oil and gas at least is very capital intensive. Uh, but I can see this uh, being very useful, that any sort of compliance, right? Like I think compliance is only increasing, and especially where there is a matter of life and death. It is. I think it's inevitable. It's necessary, and I think if something like this is available, so are we saying that with this, you could like whether Bob or Joe did the work, or was it done on machine one or whether it was done on machine two, all of that gets captured, and you also like get details to which order was worked in uh, on what day in what machine. Is that what traceability is? Like it kind of captures everything.
Yes, and more than that, we can also see material consumption as well, how much of material was consumed,
Mhm.
from what batch, from what machine, who was the user. So that's basically the historic life of a work order.
Mhm, mhm. So you covered a good amount of personas basically in the factory, and I think what we can very clearly see right now is that how they'd be collaborating. uh, is there any other persona that uh,
Yeah,
missed out?
yeah, sure. So now I would say there's a big guy, right? The plant manager. So for the leadership, this real-time visibility is important, not just the historical data, right? But for decision makers, they need to have visibility, so they cannot fall behind the events, right?
Yeah.
So for them, for plant managers, for managers in general, there are a bunch of reports that uh, we can see KPIs, right? We can see production efficiency, quality metrics, work order completion rates, and more. Okay, so and with that, plant managers no longer have to wait for end of the day reports, right? Or maybe if he wants to see a number, or if he wants to see a specific report, he needs to call two, three, four, five guys and wait for days to see that. So
Mhm.
that's a real-time dashboard providing immediate insights for them. And as we mentioned previously, Nikhil, even using factory thread, anybody is able to create his own insight, okay, his own dashboard.
So you guys, you're saying you can take all this data now that Opcenter X has created, and let us say if dates, for example, end dates need to go back to the ERP, or some data from here, or the same end dates need to go into a CRM system, or much importantly, the finance guy wants to do take all this data and combine it with some costing, pricing, or financial data in a BI tool. All that basically is just it just makes it more easy. Um, so I- I'm always curious that I always thought that such softwares could it is difficult to bring data in and out, and I get that you're showing a tool like factory thread to do that, but um, uh, how are we able to bring in and out data so easily from Opcenter X here?
Yeah, so you mean the data source?
I think is does it have like APIs or like what is it?
Oh, okay, yeah, good question. Yeah, so there are APIs. So there is integration guide which gives you all APIs for integration, and it's a very simple process as well.
Essentially, it's open source, right? Because if softwares or digital tools are open source, then I think that is the foundation to moving data in and out. So yeah, okay, I can see it.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. If you can see my screen here, in this case, it's a very simple example where we are running three APIs here. So we are bringing work orders from the data source, which in this case is my Excel file, which I'm using.
Sure.
We are bringing work order updates from another source, which could be, hey, I need to change my due date, I need to change quantity, etc.
Mhm.
And we are bringing data from Opcenter X, which is production updates, to whatever data, whatever system. So in this case, when the operators is running the production, is collecting throughput, automatically this quantity is being sending to the ERP, for example. Okay.
Understood. No, that's great. I think this is a good overall example. I think to summarize, what I'm seeing is that you could use these same tools basically in silos, but the larger message is that the more you can interconnect them and start using. And I think what you showed in Opsender X was that within the factory, certain personas, they are all like working on the same platform. So it's becoming more easier. I think one challenge we should discuss here is that this always looks like very overwhelming, Tulio. Like, in order to set this up, like it seems like, you got to take like a lot of time, etc. Like, so can you show like, what is the kind of data that you set up here? Like, what data did you bring in here to do all this?
Yeah. So basically, we need to bring the data such as production routing,
Can you
Okay.
show it here in the Opcenter X? So, like, if you go into equipment, like for example, what?
Yeah, sure. Let me show you equipment here. So we have resource from equipment. We have to have the resource, which basically are machining machines you have. Let me open a resource application here.
So a factory hierarchy would be something like, if I have two plants, then within that maybe there are departments. Within that there would be basically, if there are sub departments or functions or lines, then that's what you're saying. And then resources are more like either my machines, my lines.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. So factory hierarchy would be, let's assume you have a one plant or two plants, so you can build your hierarchy for each plant. Inside the plant, you have areas. Inside areas, you have departments of machine, so CNC machines, drilling machines, etc.
Mhm.
So that's how we can set this up.
Okay.
We also need materials, right? So we need to bring all materials that needs to be consumed. So we also need to bring what is the availability of those materials as well. Uh, we also need the process definition, right? So what is the step by step for to to manufacture that specific component, right? So then we can see if I go to my work orders. Actually, I have an example here.
Mhm.
We can see exactly the step by step of each product that needs to be executed.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you showing something?
Um, I was searching for the operator's terminal. Can you still see my screen?
I can.
Yeah, okay. So if I go to data acquisition operator terminal and I search for one specific work order here, oops, not this. So if you see here, we have the step by step for this work order,
Okay. The sequence.
the sequence of operations. So
But I think it's not only the sequence, right? Like I think with the sequence, the cycle time.
cycle time, bill of material, um, what type of machine.
So ultimately, doing such an activity is also going to organize. Like if somebody's data is not really organized, then or if they're like there's a lot of tribal knowledge, then I think essentially everything is just falling into a foundational system, which then allows you to go and like data collection then just becomes basically much more easier against this, because a good example is that if your cycle time is 5 minutes, and now in reality if you're capturing and you're saying it's 15 minutes, then the genealogy would actually capture that, right? To say, hey,
Exactly, yeah.
it's not really 5 minutes, it's actually, oh, okay. So the operator is actually collecting all that data from the shop floor.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, in the interest of time, Tulio, good example. Let me switch back
Okay.
to my screen here, and see if I can go ahead and add a media for me to share my screen here, uh, and share. Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see that.
So the path to paperless factory, essentially, then what you're telling me from smart manufacturing standpoint is, ultimately we are simplifying operations. Like in the past, at least I've seen manufacturers do a lot of simplification of operation uh, on the shop floor. But I think what we are seeing is that digital tools can simplify a lot of information flow and the operations related to the information flow. I think it sets a very good. I think Jeff Bezos used to say a lot at Amazon that we kind of put all these systems and then we started taking data-driven decisions. And I somehow think that manufacturing produces a lot of data, but uh, do we use all that data for decision making? What do you think, Tulio? Would would it be fair to say that 80% data might not be used today in a factory for decision making?
Yeah, I would say that, and most of them are using in a reactive way, right?
Yeah. So I think that essentially can unlock, both accuracy and efficiency. So in summary, I think digital solutions, whether it's the ones that we've shown, or basically, the tools that are out there in the market, I think the overall theme that we've understood from our experience is that any sort of data centralization makes operations smoother. If you can adopt to digital workflows, that would reduce waste and errors. And just collaboration, right? Visibility and collaboration is like the first step or the first outcome of a digital transformation activity, where automation tools can help teams to focus on high value tasks. One of the common challenges that we see is that um, sometimes the wrong tasks are automated before it's time for them to be automated. And I think that is where, like, prioritization and looking at the process and improving the process sometimes helps you apply the automation on the right place. Um, from a business benefit standpoint, I think with the examples that we showed Tulio today was more on the better visibility, which is the third one. Would it be fair to say that?
Yeah, I would say time savings as well. It's
Okay. Uh, yeah. Now that you say that, it makes sense that at least the collaboration, the back and forth, the searching would would basically also provide this one. What do you think of scalability, right? Like when I think of scale, right? If somebody was able to use such tools and do it like for one product, then they could easily do it for all their products. So they could kind of start small and ramp it up. Is that possible?
Yeah, because you can have a standard workflow inside the manufacturing operation system, right?
Okay.
So if it's a standard, everybody needs to follow that, and so it's easier to scale.
Okay. Awesome. Uh, 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 So, to summarize, I think if you identify key areas to digitize as to where to start and where to prioritize, if you can experiment with small digital upgrades, a platform approach where you can have a platform and start somewhere in the platform and then continuously improve adoption. I think that is one thing that we've seen amongst our customers go very well, because time to value is less, but more importantly, um, users basically have the flexibility to learn on the go and then adopt. And that's a better way rather than traditionally how we used to do. We used to take up like big fat requirements and try to go and develop them. And just I think this is a very good example of continuous improvement. So whether it's lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, and all the continuous professionals out there, they've always preached that if you really want to change culture, then we need to technology needs to bring gradual changes to improve efficiency over time. And I think this is a good example. So to end, I think if you liked our workshop, I think for yourself, you could explore your factory's potential, whether it's with us. If you'd like to do that, then we work with SMB manufacturers to explore unique challenges. We do, free assessments or a discovery call It's a discovery assessment call, and there's no commitment required to get on a call to discuss your problem. And that's where we would talk. We'd do an open discussion in terms of what's slowing down your operations. You could ask us questions about your digital transformation, whether it's your maturity, your roadmap, and you could get some simple actionable advice over that call. So hey, if you're don't forget to keep following us on the Sneak Solutions channel, whether it's on YouTube that you're watching right now, or on our Sneak Solutions LinkedIn channel. Stay tuned, stay connected. This video will be available later to watch, and keep following us. And if you feel that your factory has an opportunity to apply digital tools, then yeah, feel free to connect with us. We look forward to hearing from you. Julio, thanks a ton, man. It was good seeing you in action, and good to play the customer, for some bit of time. And maybe we can do this once again sometime, okay? With another tool and another use case.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching that.
Awesome. Bye bye.
Bye.